likes me very little. I'm owning it. I'm going with it. And just saying that's it. I'm middle aged. I'm about to tip over towards 60.
Oh my God, no way.
What?
No, I said I'm about to tip over towards 60. So.
Tip over towards
49
60.
now, you're going to become 50.
No, I'm 55. Oh, actually, I already sort of tipped over the day after my birthday. I went like this. John was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm 50, 60. I'm just going with that. Oh, God. My father-in-law was raving about you last night. He said, oh, yes. On any tell me anything, they just think it's so nice for you to be a part of the choir, and my father, such a nice person. He said he went over to you. So it is, it's really nice to, I love this choir. It's really great people.
I love it too.
Better than your other choirs? Better than Darn.
To some extent, yes. I sing in three.
Oh, so nice.
Two competition churches when I was with them. I've been singing it since high school. And that's where I met Jane. And she came as the director.
Oh, that's so nice.
And so I've done her since high school. Community group in Southbury, the Capital Society. It's a fun thing. I'm not great. So I'm fun.
Hey, I want to have fun. And I love Kevin and Melodia. Oh my God.
Me too.
I'm going to not be having to make rehearsals, but I'm going. Oh, the fun. Yeah.
I'm a church manager. I not forget about it. It's my talent. My compliment. Mine. Unless I'm looking at it.
I know. That's the truth. Very good. I was listening yesterday. It's beautiful. Thank you. And, oh my God, totally understood. Oh my God, so pumped. I still one of my favorite pictures is the one of oh, anything involving community, I'm so there. That's why these throat drops, I think they're medicine, but it makes me happy. Right. Just take on the beer and cat every day. Shush. So you have 17.
Check.
Otherwise, I'm going to write it down. Yes. Oh, keep it from October. Oh, right. And then absolutely. And then I forgot to highlight me in the logo. I don't know why. I was just talking. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Also, if you need it, I usually like to hear the congregation. Like, I don't generally say the prayers, but I just yeah. Well, especially in like trying to make it better. Yes.
Look, it'd be nice if you get it in a place where it just all we have to do is just swing it around and not move it. You know? Just swing it around. But that's fine. I know. I know.
It's 10:02 and we're like T-minus 2 minutes from beginning.
Looks pretty. Here's my slipper. Glad you're brave to sit in the front row. Linda.
Boker Tov, good morning. Lashana Tova. The Talmud reports, it says, it was taught that Rabbi Eliezer said, in Tishrei the world was created. In Tishrei the forefathers were born. In Tishrei the forefathers died. During Passover, Isaac was born. During Rosh Hashanah, Sarah, Rachel, and Hannah were remembered. During Rosh Hashanah, Joseph left the dungeon. Rabbi Eliezer speaks of our new month as the birthday of the world and as the birthday of our people's founding, and a time of hope when Sarah, Rachel, and Hannah were unable to conceive. God remembered, and each soon enjoyed the experience of motherhood. When Joseph was languishing, imprisoned on trumped-up charges, God was there helping to guide events towards his rescue. In keeping with a traditional diaspora practice, we continue to make the most of Tishrei and Rosh Hashanah. We join together for a second and more intimate encounter with the majesty and with the lessons of the new year. In being here this morning, we testify to the power of the minyan, the dedication of our stalwarts, and the wisdom and stories that guide and sustained our ancestors and us. Ma Tovu will be found on page 110.
Adonai, Leon Beitel.
We continue our singing on page 135 with Psalm 150. We turn to page 139. Yvette Mickenberg is our reader.
Beloved friend who calls us to conscience, reminds us of our own strength, invites us to grow, empowers us to act. Cosmic mysteries are yours, but the earth is ours to tend and heal as best we can. Beloved partner in creation, we join our strength with yours to make you real and true.
On page 141, the Chatzi Kaddish will be found.
Yitgadal. Okay, too high. I do, I got it, I'm good. I just got mixed up with yesterday, that's all. We didn't go over it, but we're good. Okay, ready? Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Amen. V'yamah divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael. v'it par, v'it ramam, v'it naseh, v'it hadar, v'it halel, v'it halal, shemei de kudeshah. Leila, Leila, bin kol birkata v'shirata. Tush birkata v'nechamata, damiran b'yama v'yimeru.
We rise, page 142.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 145. The morning wind forever blows. The poem of creation is uninterrupted, but few are the ears that hear it. Praise to you, Adonai, creator of the cosmic lights. And we turn to page 148. Our praise to you, Adonai. You have singled out your people Israel with love. Page 150.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Page 152. We join together in the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lektecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yodecha v'chayu l'totavot b'einecha u'chtavtam al mitzvot beitecha u'visharecha l'man tizkeru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kiroshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Amen. 163. Where does Israel get the courage, the chutzpah, to go on believing in redemption in a world that knows mass hunger, political exile, and war? How can Jews testify to hope and human value when they have been continuously persecuted, hated, expelled, destroyed out of the memories of the Exodus? Mi Chamocha will be found on page 164.
שיר חדשה שבחוגולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו Zu Israel, Kuma Bezrat Israel, Ufadek Inumecha, Yehuda Israel, Go Aleinu Adonai Tsevaot Shemo, Kedosh Israel, Baruch atah Adonai, Goy Israel.
Our service continues, page 166. We rise for the beginning of the tefillah. We'll be chanting the prayers on the right-hand pages to 170.
Adonai sifatai tivtach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'panei Hakol, V'zocher Chaserot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Gula Lifnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava. Zokreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, בספר החיים, בבואך אלוהים חיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני. מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מיכאל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ערבי עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מחמוך בגבורות ומדום מלך, מלך מביט ומחיה ומצביע ישועה.
Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Wellspring of blessing, power eternal, you are the one who gives and renews all life. Please be seated. I read on page 179 at the bottom this observation from Rabbi Mark Saperstein. Death, sickness, impoverishment, tragic as they may be, are not identical with evil. They do not bear a potential for truly evil consequences. They can poison and bitter, fill us with self-pity. If penitence, prayer, and charity cannot change the external reality, if they cannot arrest the malignant cancer, they can indeed ensure that the evil potential in that reality will not become actual and enduring, but will pass. We turn to page 174.
ונתן את קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום. ובוא תינשא מלכותך, ביום וחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת.
Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love, and your reign is a reign of truth. In truth you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. Page 1 76. And the great shofar will cry, Tekiah, a still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you as sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments. Page 178.
Berosh Hashanah nikatenu, uvyom Yom Kippur nikatenu, Berosh Hashanah nikatenu, uvyom Yom Kippur nikatenu.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? Page 180.
Uteshuva, utefila, utsedaka, ma'abirin etro, hagezero.
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood. Page 182. We read together. We who are mortal, our origin is dust, and so is our end. We wear out our lives to get our bread. But for you, ever-living sovereign, time has no limits. Your presence, unbounded by days and years, is everywhere. A glorious mystery none can decipher. Your name is worthy of you, and you are worthy of your name. And our name you have linked with yours. We rise, page 184.
Nekadesh et shemcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto bishmei marom, kakatuv ayad neviecha, bekarazeh zevi amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivot, Melech haaretz, Kivod יושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיניך חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. Hallelujah.
Please be seated. Le Dorvador, Le Dorvador, Le Dorvador, Nagidalecha. Le Dorvador, Le Dorvador, Le Dorvador, Nagidalecha. Vador, we will make known God's greatness. We turn to page 191. Sybil Blau is our reader.
Okay. Let me fetch you a morsel of bread, said Abraham to his guests. But instead he gave them a sumptuous meal. Rabbi Eleazar said, this teaches that righteous people promise little and deliver much, while the wicked promise much and deliver nothing.
We turn to page 206. We invite forward Betty Goldfarb. And her shofar. And for those who are able, we rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu kol shafar. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן. תקיעה. שברים תרועה. תרועה.
216. Page 216. Silent meditation will be found on page 218. We turn to page 222. I ask that we rise. We invite forward M.J. Silver, who will be opening our ark, and we also invite forward at this time Adam Price, who will be carrying our Torah. We stand as those before us have stood, summoned to judgment, longing for love. Avinu Malkeinu, may these words be a bridge. They come from our hearts. May they lead us to you. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Aneinu, Aneinu, Kiehanu Masi, Page 226. We are the people of the book. Through fire and mud and dust, we have borne our scrolls tenderly as a baby swaddled in a blanket, traveling with our words sewn in our clothes and carried on our backs. Let us take up with the scroll of Torah and dance with it and touch it and read it out, for the mind touches the word and makes it light. So does light enter us, and we shine.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, v'ein chamasecha, malechutecha, malechut kol olamim, umimshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam oed. Adonai us le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom.
These are the attributes of God. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rahum v'Harun, Erech Apayim v'Rachesed v'Emet, Notzeh Chesed la'Lavim, Notzeh Avon v'Havesha v'Chaton v'Nokeh. Adonai,
just a quick word of explanation about what's about to happen, and then we're going to invite up Chaplain Ron Herman. Dan Goodman's annual tour de force performance of presenting the opening of the book of Genesis has its precedent. And the precedent is the first time the Torah was read publicly, which is in the book of Nehemiah, which our own Ruthie will be presenting as the Haftarah. And it says, all the people gathered themselves together as one person into the broad place that was before the water gate. This is at the temple. And they spoke unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which Adonai had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, brought the Torah before the congregation, both men and women, and all that could hear with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month. First day of the 7th month, which is the month of Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah. And he read therein before the broad place that was before the water gate from early morning until midday in the presence of the men and the women. And those that could understand, and the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law, unto the Sefer Torah. While we're all attentive, Dan gets off a bit easier than Ezra, reading just the creation narrative rather than the entire scroll. And Nehemiah, who was the governor, and Ezra, the priest, the scribe, taught the people. Nehemiah and Ezra's role this morning is performed by Chaplain Ron, who provides a context for our reading. And then Ruthie will then tie everything together in a neat bow with the Haftarah. In this narrative, it all begins with light and illumination as we encounter order and understanding. The same might be said of our way of doing things. We too have our sense of order and precedent that heightens our understanding, including the tradition that Ron comes up to highlight and shine light on the significance of these sacred words, the deep meanings to be found in our portion. Ron? Oh.
He named it.
Very good.
I snuck behind him, I guess. I will orient you to the fact that the portion we're reading is beginning on page 330. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage. So begins a very moving poem by Rabbi Alvin Fine that you will find, I think we will have in our Yisra service next week. But it also is something that I get to do quite a lot, recite that in the context of memory and passing. And in that same context, it's also about life. You heard the word life, and life is a journey. And I really reacted, this is very personal. I had a birthday last week, and I was kind enough, the choir here, we had a little gathering on that day, acknowledged that, and they asked me, of course, how old are you? And I didn't say the number, I said 4 high, because, I mean, that happens to be the truth. But the high part stuck with me, and it stuck with me in the context of everywhere we see it. And actually, one of the first things I thought about was, and my wife Linda will remember, shortly after I converted to Judaism 32 years ago in the month of Tishrei, as it turns out, my wife gave me a high necklace. And that was my introduction to the faith. If you open the book to page 332, I'm going to read from toward the end of the portion. We start at verse 26. And God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the heavens, over the cattle, over the whole earth, and every other crawling animal that crawls on the land. And God created the human in the image of God. In the image of God created the human, male and female God created them. And continuing on 3:33, and God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, take charge of it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every animal that crawls on the land. And God said, behold, I have given you every seed-producing plant on the face of the entire earth, and every tree that bears seed-producing fruit. This will be yours for eating, and to every animal of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to every being that crawls on the earth, in which there is the breath of life, all green plants for eating. And so it was. And the key word to me is the use twice of the word chai. I mean, not exactly in that form, but chaya, and nefesh chaya, the breath of life, and the breath of life that emanates us and all the other creatures of the earth during our life. And so I started to think in terms of turning points in my journey, and it's not, I'm going to mention a couple, but it's really in connection with us as we think of our own journeys. And it was interesting to me how multiples of chai had a lot of meaning. At my first chai, 18, I went off to college. And it was one of the interesting things for me is I wound up being a goy who joined a Jewish fraternity. Kind of my first introduction into the what would become later much more central. And if I think of too high, I think of the fact that that was shortly after the birth of our first son, and that Linda and I first joined this congregation at too high. And then when I think of three high, I think of the fact that now Rabbi Eric was here, and I can't remember the name of the cantor right now, but I remember the cantor and Rabbi and I going to a conference at Yale back in, so I think it was 2000. It was about Psalms, if I remember correctly. And I was encouraged by both of them to go to the seminary to start doing some adult programming in the evening. And then it wound up that shortly after that, the people I went to study with encouraged me to go during the day. And so now I reach 4 high, and it sounds like about retirement time. But I'm not retiring. That's not specifically my point. But the point of view is changing in terms of what's central and what's necessary. And I'm sure those of us of different ages here could hopefully relate to some of that. And it's got me thinking, when I connected with this portion, I remember talking 8 years ago. I happened to trip over an old speech I had done here 8 years ago. And we talked about the 6 days of creation, and of course we're going to read that, and how the sense of the first 3 days, most important thing was God creating paradise. And that the most important thing of the next 3 days, certainly to us, was the fact that we were created, humankind. And that the Sabbath, Shabbat, which we also read at the end, was our weekly foretaste of paradise. And that the paradise that we could come to ultimately. And it got me thinking about the ideal man. And it put me in the context of Adam, wanting to talk about him. It'd be nice if I could find my notes right now, but here they are. Because a Jewish understanding of Adam when he was first created, Adam, was that he was Adam Kadmon, right? He was the perfect, the ideal form. And not that we are going to be that, but I wanted to share with you some midrash which may enrich our understanding of what we should be thinking about. So, Midrash says, the superiority of man to the other creatures is apparent in the very manner of his creation, altogether different from theirs. He's the only one who was created by the hand of God. The rest sprang from the word of God. The body of man is a microcosm, the whole world in miniature, and the world in turn is a reflection of man. But man is more than a mere image of his world. He unites both heavenly and earthly qualities within himself. In 4, he resembles the angels, in 4, the beast. His power of speech, his discriminating intellect, his upright walk, the glance of his eye, they all make an angel of him. But on the other hand, he eats and drinks, he secretes the waste matter in his body, that's said very delicately, propagates his kind, and dies, like the beast of the field. Therefore, God said before the creation of man, the celestials are not propagated, but they are immortal. The beings on earth are propagated, but they die. I will create man to be the union of the two, so that when he sins, when he behaves like a beast, death shall overtake him. But if he refrains from sin, he shall live forever. So the ideal man, like all creatures formed on the 6 days of creation, Adam came from the hands of the Creator, fully and completely developed. He was not like a child, but like a man of 20 years of age. The dimensions of his body were gigantic, reaching from heaven to earth, or what amounts to the same from east to west. Among later generations of men, there were but few who in measure resembled Adam in his extraordinary size and physical perfection. His spiritual qualities kept pace with his personal charm, for God had fashioned his soul with particular care. His soul is the image of God, and as God fills the world, so the soul fills the human body. As God sees all things and is seen by none, so the soul sees but cannot be seen. As God guides the world, so the soul guides the body. As the God in his holiness is pure, so is the soul. And as God dwells in secret, so doth the soul. The wisdom of Adam displayed itself to great advantage when he gave names to the animals. And the image done there is, in this respect, Adam, at least the ideal Adam, was more perfect than the angels, because they were not able to do that. And so in the sense of intellect, we were superior. We know that the ideal Adam, unfortunately, became the very human Adam. What happened in the garden, I mean, it's literally after the portion that we read. But there's a discussion about what took place that day. This eventful day was the first day of the month of Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah. So the sense was creation started on the 25th day of Elul, and so therefore the 6th day was the first of Tishrei. God spoke to Adam, "Thou shalt be the prototype of thy children, as thou hast been judged by me on this day and absolved. So thy children Israel shall be judged by me on this New Year's Day, and they shall be absolved." Each day of creation brought forth 3 things. The first day, heaven, earth, and light. The second, the firmament, Gehenna, and the angels. The third, trees, herbs, and paradise. The fourth, the sun, the moon, and the stars. And the fifth, fishes, birds, and the Leviathan. As God intended to rest on the 7th day, on the Sabbath, on the 6th day he had to do double duty. Sounds like the double portion that they got out, you know, the Hebrews got out when they were out in the desert. Brought forth 6 creations: Adam, Eve, cattle, reptiles, the beasts of the field, and the demons. The demons were made shortly before the Sabbath came in, and they are therefore incorporeal spirits. The Lord had no time to create bodies for them. In the brief time that they were in paradise, Adam and Eve, but a few hours, For in the first hour of the sixth day of creation, God conceived the idea of creating man. In the second hour, he took counsel with the angels. In the third, he gathered dust for the body of man. In the fourth, he formed Adam. In the fifth, he clothed him with skin. In the sixth, the soulless shape was complete, so it could stand upright. In the seventh, the soul was breathed into it. In the eighth, man was led into paradise. In the ninth, the divine command prohibiting the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden was issued to him. In the 10th, he transgressed the command. In the 11th, he was judged. In the 12th hour of the day, he was cast out of paradise in atonement for his sin. However, you heard in what I said that even in his sin, God absolved him and absolved us in the future if we would behave. So I want to end with a little reading from the Hasidic people, and this is regarding Suja. Every person born into the world represents something new, something original and unique. Everyone's foremost task is the actualization of his or her unique, unprecedented, and never recurring potentialities, and not the repetition of it, such that there would be another, even if it was the greatest. Everyone has their uniqueness. Rabbi Susha said a short while before his death, "In the world to come, I shall not be asked, why were you not," literally it says Moses, I changed it here to say, why are you not Adam Kadmon? Why are you not the ideal man? No, I won't be asked that. I shall be asked, why were you not Suja? So I wish you Lashana Tova. I wish you to be the very best that you can be. Like Suja was going to be asked by God, why was he not the very best that he could be? Lashana Tova.
Dr. Dan and Jonathan Kapstein is going to be our Turgamon. We now invite forward for the first Aliyah to the Torah, Carrie Strauss and Fred Rubenstein. Amdu Rishon.
Roku Adonai, Roku Adonai, I'm Baruch. Baruch Adonai, I'm Baruch Le'olam V'ed. Baruch Adonai, I'm Baruch Le'olam V'ed. Baruch Atah Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Notein Atah Amen.
Amen. Breshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Haaretz hayta tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom v'ruach Elohim mirachefet al pnei hamayim. Vayomer Elohim yehi or, vayor, vayar Elohim et haor ki tov, vayavdel Elohim ben haor uven hachoshech, vayikra Elohim naor yom, v'lachoshech kara layla. yom echad. At the beginning of God's creating of the heavens and the earth had been amorphous and formless, with darkness upon the face of the deep, and God's breath moving upon the face of the water, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God differentiated between the light and the darkness. And God called the light day, and called the darkness night. Thus there was evening, and there was morning, one day.
Vayomer Elohim yehi rakia betoch hamayim vihi matil ben mayim lamayim. Vayas Elohim et harakia v'yavdel ben hamayim asher mitach harakia ובין המים אשר מעל הרקיע ויחן ויקרא אלוהים לרקיע שמיים ויהי בוקר יום שני.
And God said, "Let there be a firmament within the water, and let it divide water from water." And God made the firmament, and it differentiated between the water that was under the firmament and the water that was above the firmament. And so it was. And God called the firmament the heavens, and thus there was evening, and there was morning, a second day.
Vayomer Elohim יקבו המים מתחת השמיים אל מקום אחד ותראה היבשה ויחן ויקרא אלוהים ליבשה ארץ ולמקרה המים קרא ימים וירא אלוהים כי טוב ויאמר אלוהים תשא הארץ דשא עשב מזריע זרע עץ פרי עושה פרי למינו אשר זרעו על הארץ ויחן ותוצא הארץ דשא עשב מזריע זרע למינו ועץ עושה פרי אשר זרעו למינו וירא אלוהים כי טוב וירא ויהי בוקר יום שלישי.
And God said, "Let the water under the heavens be gathered in one place, so that the dry land will appear." And so it was. And God called the dry land earth, and called the gathering of the waters seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth grow grass and seed-producing plants, fruit trees, each with its seed inside, yielding upon the earth its own kind of fruit." And so it was. And the earth brought forth grass and plants, each one sending forth its own kind of seed, and trees that bear fruit, each with its own kind of seed inside. And God saw that it was good. Thus there was evening, and there was morning, a third day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher notanu Torah emes b'chayei olam motav v'zokenu Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.